Why are you so katai all of a sudden? Let's go.
What do you mean I'm not katai?
Okay,
That's good posture.
go. Hi, Tokyo Tops.
Hi, Tokyoverse.
We have the beloved Carlton with us today.
Onegaishimasu.
How do I pronounce your go-go name? Finsta Bay?
Well, it's different in English and Japanese.
Oh.
In English, it's Finsta Bay. In Japanese, it's Finsta Bai.
Finsta-bai.
Why
It's Insta Bai.ってわかる?
Oh.
Insta-bai. Insta-bai わかる? This thing is so Insta-bai. Like it would look so good on Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a pun. We have Carlton here because he was actually a part of the JET program for how many years?
4 years.
For all of you at home who might not know what the JET program is, correct me if I'm wrong, a government-sponsored, or you work through the government, teaching English as an assistant?
That's close.
Okay. And I believe you went to Okinawa,
Yes.
which is like super lucky because
was
everyone gets
very lucky.
sent to the countryside.
Yeah.
Can we just jump right in?
No, you actually need to introduce yourself first.
Introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Carlton. I have been in Japan for, I just started my 9th year. I'm from the US. My dad was in the military, so we moved all over, but I consider myself from Wisconsin. So in 2015, after graduating from the University of Wisconsin with a degree in engineering and a little bit of Japanese, I moved to Okinawa on the JET program.
Are you gay?
Oh, I'm very gay. Kinsey 6. Can I give you a rundown on the JET program?
Yeah, tell us about the JET
First,
program.
tell us what is JET program, because I know what Andrew said wasn't actually true.
Yeah.
I know
The
that.
JET program, lots of people think it's only about teaching English. It's not the truth.
My official understanding, there are three different jobs you can have on the JET program. First, the JET program stands for Japan Exchange and Teaching. That's the weird Japanese acronym.
Okay.
Yeah. But the main one, the most popular one, is where you come in as an assistant language teacher for any community all over Japan. Like there's about 5,000 active participants at any time. And so you can work in elementary schools, high schools, middle schools, public, private. Honestly, every single person's job is very different. The second most popular one is a CIR, a coordinator for international relations. And these are people who usually have higher Japanese level. And they work with like local municipalities, smaller governments to kind of add some international initiatives, whether it's helping translate in the city hall or running international programs to again kind of help Japan as a whole become much more of an international conscious country. And the last one, and there's only like 5 of them in the entire country, it's an SEA. It's they basically do like sports activities.
Sports.
So I think it was started by the Olympics, but before the Olympics happened, they brought in like some rugby coaches. And there's only like 5 in the entire country, so it's very, very far and few between.
Actually, I met someone who is doing, I think, the second one you were mentioning
CIR?
about
Yeah.
CIR.
Yeah.
Because I think she was a native English speaker. She was doing like the government kind of like relation stuff.
Exactly. So yeah, your ALTs, they require you to be from a native English-speaking country, but then the CIRs, they can come from anywhere, just as long as you speak another language and Japanese to a very high level, like N2 or N1.
So let's go in more about the JET details.
Of course.
First, I want to talk about the application. What did you need to prepare in order to apply for the JET program, and kind of like what was your own reason to apply for the JET program as well?
I know it's changed because I applied in 2014. So almost 10 years ago now. Back when I did it, you had to like print everything and triplicate it and then fax it. Which
you need to fax it.
You did. I mean, they changed that in like 2018. So I think it's all digital now.
Okay.
They're really strict about your criminal history.
Yeah.
You have to also like get your fingerprints done and do all of this like really, really thorough background checks. So as an American, I submitted that to my local Japanese embassy. If you were accepted, in-person interviews at the embassy with like a table of about 4 or 5 people. Then after that, if you are selected, you're shortlisted, and usually what that means is you're in the program, they just don't know where you're going because again they're coordinating with embassies all over the world with the Tokyo office as well. So it's a huge endeavor, and they bring over like 1,500 people every year.
Wow.
1,500.
1,500.
And I heard you guys have orientation that you have to gather together, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
I heard of that.
Yeah.
What did it turn into? A party for gay people?
Oh, well, we'll get there. After you find out, if you've made it and where you're going, then you do all the paperwork to like submit your visa application and stuff. And then that summer, they have 2 orientations, as you mentioned. ALTs, CIRs, people from all over the world. And everyone's jet lagged and wonky. It was a really fun time.
It's like the Olympics.
Honestly, they have busloads of people. It's again.
And
you know what happens
and
at the
very
Olympics.
young as well.
Yeah.
And everyone's like just graduate from
Fresh
college.
Very excited to be in a new country. Why are you here? And stuff like that.
We all know why we're here.
Yeah.
And then they send you off across Japan.
Was it like a lottery that you were like, oh, please send me to this, please send me to...
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
In your application, you can request 3 locations.
So everyone requests Tokyo.
Obviously.
Well, no, everybody has their own reasons. I requested Akita Prefecture.
What?
Like the reason I started studying Japanese in university was my best friend in high school was from Akita. I was like, oh, I can go visit his hometown. And the climate is also very similar to Wisconsin. But then they ended up sending me completely
to the hottest place.
Exactly. The exact opposite of the country, to Okinawa. So sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. And honestly, it's all about
But I would say mostly I think people don't get what they want because they always request that big cities, Tokyo, Osaka, or Nagoya, like something more entertaining.
A lot of the gays, do want to see a city.
Yes,
so that is a real trend. And also, it is harder to be gay in the Naka.
Yes.
Which we gonna...
we are gonna know.
That's a lot of questions for you.
Yes.
Yeah. But before, what was your personal reason that you wanted to apply through JET? Because there are many ways to enter this country.
In university, I studied, my major was engineering. My university offered a minor called Technical Japanese, which was like 2 years of standard conversational Japanese and then 1 year of like technical translation.
Wow.
Which was actually really fun. But because the engineering program was just so intense, I never had a chance to study abroad. Worked my butt off to study this language. And I haven't been able to go to Japan. Like, this is crazy. So when I applied, my thought process was like, let's just do 1 year, do a late, post-graduating, study abroad type thing, and then we'll come home after, I'm perfect at Japanese and, figure out the rest of my life back home. And now it's 9 years.
So I do have my next question right here, but you already answered. Like, did you learn Japanese prior to, but I do believe a lot of people actually join the JET program don't know any Japanese. And I heard this rumor that they prefer people don't know any Japanese.
Exactly. You do not need to speak any Japanese to apply to be an ALT. It is sometimes detrimental because they don't want you to come here and speak Japanese to the students. They want you to be here as a resource for native English. In my first few weeks, I was really excited to use my Japanese, my very bad Japanese. I had a few teachers tell me, it's like, let's try and use more English. So again, you don't need any Japanese at all, but the more Japanese you have, the easier it is to live here as a functional adult human being.
Well, talking about Okinawa though, where exactly? Is it Naha? Or is some very...
So I don't know if you can see, Okinawa is kind of shaped like a long sausage or something with a lump in the middle. Okay. And the very bottom in the south is Naha, which is where the airport is, the major metropolitan area. 70% of the population live in the southern part of the island. I'm about an hour and a half drive because there are no trains.
Aquarium?
Oh. I was literally 10 minutes away from the aquarium, which was really quite inaka.
Yeah, it sounds quite
inaka. 9,000 people.
So when you open up a Grinder, how many people are on Grinder?
Well,
we're Naima, whatever.
My grid was full, but everybody was 20 plus kilometers away.
Okay.
So it was a pretty big distance. You have to drive.
It was Naha. Essentially, you probably got your most...
So you have Naha, Okinawa City, and then all these military bases. In my village, we were far enough away from the bases where there wasn't a lot of interaction. But as I would go south, there'd be people who all looked like me, and for better or for worse, I looked like a soldier with my stature, my head shape, and my haircut.
Yeah.
So I would get looks at people,
hate looks.
A little bit of just resentful looks.
People there who are gay, who might be into foreigners, might also be, I don't know, were they into military looking guys? Because that's the type of foreigners who are around them. And did that benefit you?
My ex, actually, when I moved there, I started dating a guy who was from Okinawa. He was from Nago. So he was actually really close to me. I was very lucky.
That's great.
Great guy, super Okinawan face, really strong, very handsome. He worked on the military base. So he had really good English. Just like Tokyo. You have the people who are really into the foreigners, and then the people who are just like, no, thank you. But again, the overall vibe that I would get when I would go down to the city was like more of a surprise because I could speak Japanese. They would see me think military, no Japanese, but then I would like talk to them and be like, actually, no, I'm not. And they'd be like, oh, that's crazy, no way. And then we'd have a really good conversation. So once they got to know me, it was fun.
I see. So you were shocking people with your perfect Japanese.
Oh my God.
Yeah, around the street.
I know what you said.
Perfect.
Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt. We've noticed that our recent video didn't pop up for many of you. Andrew recently visited Hong Kong and explored several gay bathhouses. It's a very fun video to watch and I think you will really enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, head over to our channel and check it out. Thank you for all the love and support as always. Now back to our main topic.
So there is a gay life over there in Okinawa.
It's one of the gayest prefectures. Like there are a lot of gay bars and club. There's like one gay club-ish in Naha. Okinawa City has a lot of good, cute little gay bars. There are places to go, but again, it's not as easy as like just going to Nichome and then taking a train home.
So did you drive? Did you drive?
Yeah, I mean, I had a really nice community in the JET program, so we would go down and like all
together
meet in Naha. Yeah, exactly.
There were other JET people around you then?
We had about 90 JET participants in the entire main island.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so we had shirts. One of my JET friends made this shirt.
Oh,
so
wow.
prideful.
Yeah, of course, I got to represent.
How many of them are gays?
Queers in general, I think it was about like 15%. One of my good friends, she's trans, was on a really small, separated island of like 100, 200 people total. And like she was out. And everyone was like really accepting of, at least from what I heard.
That's so great. You've lived here for how many years now? 3?
So Japan, Tokyo has been 4 and Okinawa was 4. I just celebrated my.
So half. What are some differences between the gay communities that you feel between Okinawa and?
I mean, I just feel like everybody's here in Tokyo. There were gay people in Okinawa, but still, if they were able to, they'd all come to Tokyo. The memory that really set in my mind that I need to be in Tokyo was I had this coworker who I kind of thought was gay. And at the beginning of the year we met, we were friends, he was around my age, we like, all the young teachers and I, we'd like hang out, go to dinner, whatever. And at the very end of that year, we had a farewell party and he mentioned like, oh, my girlfriend and I, and I was like, really heartbroken? I didn't really find him attractive or anything, it wasn't like a crush or anything, but I just felt really lonely. I am a very social person, but just I didn't have like a gay community to share in, that aspect of my life with anybody. And so I just remember like really feeling lonely and being like, okay, like I need to go somewhere where I can find this. And so I will always love Okinawa. Like it's my Japanese hometown. But in terms of like where I build my like adult community, like that's why I'm here in Tokyo.
So that begs me a question though, because you just said that it's one of the biggest gay communities in Japan. How can you simultaneously be in one of the biggest in Japan and yet feel lonely?
Again, it goes from like Tokyo up here to like Osaka, and then the third, fourth biggest is like, Nagoya, Okinawa. It's incomparable, So just to be like surrounded in that community here is honestly incomparable. So yes, it was big. Comparatively, but still
not
quite small.
Compared to Akita, probably. Well, but even think about people in Osaka, they were like, there's lots of more going on in Tokyo. They want to come to Tokyo. So like, even though it's like number 1 to number 3, but the gap is huge.
It's exponential.
Every time I speak to someone who's from Osaka, they always think it's not even that different, and then they come to Tokyo and they're like, it's so like once you live here. And I think we built a really good community here, and we're part of a really good community.
Can you stop saying that word?
Community?
I love that word. He hates the word so much.
I hate the word so much.
Because he doesn't like to be separated.
Oh.
I want to hear a story from Okinawa.
I'm gonna do 2 if I can cheat.
Sure. Yeah.
So again, there's like 2 dating pools. The international community is quite small, so it's usually like you have your military options, and then you have your Japanese options. I remember there's one military guy that we met a few times, and he was like beautiful, just like a trunk of a man. His Instagram had like 100,000 followers.
Oh wow!
And like he messaged me, and I was like, oh hello. So anyway, I pick him up at the base, take him home, have a lovely couple of evenings. There's a special place in my heart for the military men.
So you still talk to him?
Oh no.
I don't know if I could date a military guy.
So you need to be careful. I'm a military brat. Like growing up, I moved 9 times before I was 18. And my heart goes out to them because they obviously want, connection. They don't want to like hold off on their love lives until they leave the army.
Yeah.
But during their time when they're in Okinawa, I had a few friends who promised very big things. And then like their boyfriend went home and then just completely ghosted them. Like there were talks of like marriage, there were talks of bringing her to the US. But
I mean, I heard the similar stories happen to my girlfriends as well.
Yeah.
Like, they went home and they ghosted it.
Exactly.
On them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, even like dating expats here in Tokyo, I think one reason that sometimes Japanese people are a bit afraid to talk to us is they don't see us as permanent parts of Japan.
That's true.
My second story, you've been to love hotels, right?
I don't think I've actually ever
I did a video.
You did a video.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
our biggest one. Yeah.
It's not just in Okinawa, but because there are no trains in Okinawa, everybody drives. And so love hotels, like they have a garage with each bedroom. So you go in and then the garage door shuts behind you. And then you go into the room after that. So it's it's a whole different thing. It was funny because we went there and we talked to the register person over the intercom and they have a camera and they see that we're 2 guys and they're like, sorry, you can't do this. And so we left and then went to a different one and had no problem. And we're there for several hours. It was very nice. But like again, it was just, okay, that prejudice exists.
You're like trying to have a good time and then you get rejected by like it messes with the vibe, right?
It really just turns it off.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Totally. I thought when jet people leave, they kind of give all of the stuff that they don't want anymore to the next jet.
With jet, again, every situation is different.
Yeah.
But I bought, like a bed, all the furniture was in my apartment. I was very lucky to live in teachers' housing. My rent was like 80,000 yen. Sorry, 8,000 yen.
そんなにできるの?
Per month.
Yeah, jet's super cheap.
But the building was like from the 50s.
Okay.
And full of, it was just...
I mean,
Full
this
of
building
what?
is from the 50s.
It is not from the 50s.
It's newer, but also been taken care of. This building's much nicer than what mine was.
Full of what? Cockroaches, are you going to say?
Yeah, cockroaches and then like geckos.
Oh, okay.
geckos
They were cute. They were cute.
They're cute, but like
they were helping.
Yeah.
Okinawan cockroaches are like
huge.
big. They're thick.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Well, okay, so I think we heard enough
Yeah.
gay stuff. I'm gonna just kind of like closing this video right now, throwing like some other questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you overall enjoy the jet experience and would you recommend to people who want to come to Japan?
Yeah. I objectively think I had like the best jet experience. I was very lucky. I was in a very small village that was far, but not too far, where I was able to really just get surrounded by the culture and the language, but also escaped and do like, party things when I wanted to. I think to really be successful in the jet experience, you need to be proactive. It's only 5 years max. So you need to be using the free time you have to like help you achieve whatever next goal that is. I studied Japanese like crazy. Like I got N2 on my own. Making sure you're using that time to be effective and also then building out a social community.
Yeah.
You need to build out a community of international people, of local friends as well. You need to be proactive because it can be very easy to slip, especially if you're right out of college too. I think a lot of like fresh graduates who come are so used to the structure of being a student.
Yeah.
And then also they view Japan as this, magical land of happiness and anime. And then they leave that structure and they're on their own for the first time. And yes, you have people supporting you, but still, I think sometimes people underestimate how challenging it can be. So as long as you have a realistic expectation of that and you get lucky, it's perfect.
And what would you say to people, gay people, queer people, who come here and inevitably, the majority of them are not going to get their city of their choice. And probably they're going to be stuck in the countryside somewhere far out. What do you say to people who are in that situation and who might be lonely in a similar way you said you were lonely?
No. I mean, I think the biggest thing is to roll with it. I mean, as queer people, I think we do develop a thicker skin and we have to. So, give it a chance. Find your people, be proactive, as I mentioned earlier, to build those communities. Go visit, queer centers, whether it is the local city and there's like a bar, go, make your voice heard, just rolling with the punches.
Jet pays pretty well, right?
Yeah, I mean, compared to other English teaching programs, it's much easier to come to Japan first. And in terms of salary, It's quite solid. I was very lucky because my rent was so cheap, my cost of living was so low, but I also had to send money home for student loans.
Yeah, I hear that.
So,
yeah.
and with the yen rate now, like I think I saw on Reddit, somebody was talking about like, oh, I have $1,000 a month that I have to pay. Is jet a good choice? I'm like, no.
Because don't come to Japan to pay off your student debt.
No.
Okay, last question. Like, what do you do here right now in Tokyo?
Oh yeah, after jet, I went to a language school in Yokohama for 1 year. That my graduation of that was during the beginning of the pandemic. It was early 2020. So I had a few different jobs lined up and they all fell through because of the pandemic. My visa was expiring and I ended up going into recruiting. And so a lot of foreigners do English teaching and or recruiting, and now even like IT, like that's the third most popular one now. And I found a really nice small firm where I worked in financial recruiting, and I got to use my English and Japanese. It was a lot of fun, really stressful, and I did that for 2 years. And then as of this January, I recently transitioned internally to an operations position. My current job is great, and I'm really happy. And
I was in recruiting as well.
What industry?
I sound like a 14-year-old, but my boobs are huge.
I did that too. Like I had no idea. Oh my god.
I know, we have some more connections. Or similarities.
Lovely. Well, thank you for coming on and joining us today.
Thank you. Yeah.
All you thirsty bitches out there, we'll leave his Instagram right here so you can come and follow him. He will be actually on a couple more videos coming out, so stay tuned on that. And we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
And are you single right now?
Oh, I am not. I have a boyfriend. We've been dating for...
No, people are gonna drop off right now. All the viewership. Fuck, now let me just beep.
Excuse me. What did I say?
Idols have to pretend that they're single.